Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Round Robin. I'm your host, Tracy Preston, along with Christine Mulligan and Nina Mulligan. And that's it for tonight.
Hello.
Yo, yo, yo.
Welcome to the shit show.
It's about to get real crazy. You can't just turn three of us loose and expect it to be, mellow.
No, with no other people for me to keep in mind and not be rude to. I mean, come on. I mean, that's just, unfortunately, I try and poke fun at them, but poke fun at them lightheartedly. Because, it's me. So the people that are closest to me, I like to poke fun at them. Like, if somebody messes up a word, you bet your ass I'm going to repeat how you messed up that word. You know what I mean? Because it's funny. And I would expect the same thing from my close people to me. Like when I mess something up or I say something stupid or I swear I'm right and then I end up being wrong, I like them to call me out and make fun of me for it, because that's what keeps us all humble.
I know. So the only two victims are myself and Nina. Got to help us.
I know. It's going to be bad.
It's gonna be an interesting ride.
People, I'm gonna be so rude. Nobody's here to keep me in check.
Christine is unleashed.
I know, and our listeners are gonna think I'm a flaming asswipe.
Never. Don't talk about my wife like that.
Don't talk about yourself like that, girl. Shoot.
Okay.
Couple weeks ago or a week ago, we did facts, right? So I'm like, we should do some
facts.
Facts.
Oh, I was going to say, we talked about sex. No, we did not.
No, we did not. I mean, we're explicit, but we're not dirty.
Yeah. No, I can't be trusted. That's like the
Exactly.
same reason that I didn't hit my kids. I didn't not hit my kids because I don't believe in punishment. Because, the consequences is the thing. I can get fined. I never hit my kids because I didn't trust my ass not to hurt them.
I know, because you want them to survive.
Exactly. I wanted to keep my kids safe. That's why I didn't hit them. So it's just like this,
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know.
What I mean by that is I can't talk about sex and trust myself that I'm not going to get too raunchy.
True story.
That is a true story.
I can't do it. I won't do it.
So we're gonna steer clear
Of sex.
of
She
sex.
already has a hard enough time with me right here. Sitting right next to her. It's hard to even just contain a conversation. So
Yeah, no, we can't talk about that. All right, so anyway, we went on a ramble because, see, we're already in trouble. We went on a ramble because you said facts, and I thought you said sex. I was like, wait, what? Okay.
I'm in.
Back to, rewind.
Rewind.
Back before my silliness. What were you saying?
Right.
What
So
are our topics?
right. So I've got some really good historical things that we're going to talk about. And all of these are coming from a website called allthat'sinteresting.com. And I'm going to absolutely make sure that I have that in the show notes because you guys got to check this shit out. So, and I did see this on the news. I guess it was last week or something. I did see it and I thought, wow, that's really cool. So remember the Titanic and the movie The Titanic? I love that damn movie. 3 hours long.
Are you seriously asking if we remember it?
Well, I mean, did you watch the movie?
Of course.
Right. So a 3-hour movie on this, the Titanic, I could sit there and watch it nonstop because it never, ever felt like 3 hours worth of a movie. I loved it.
I didn't. It was a good movie, yeah.
Yeah, super good. And, people have gone down, they've gone down in submersibles or sent submersibles down with people and they kind of check it out. But, I mean, it's way, 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 way down there. It's like 13,000 feet on the bottom of the ocean floor in the Atlantic, right? Recently, they have they have a detailed digital model of the Titanic. So anyway, let me just read this little bit. So using underwater robots that traveled nearly 13,000 feet down to the floor of the Atlantic Ocean, more than 700,000 high-quality images of the wreckage were collected and combined to create a digital twin of the lost ship. And like I said, I'm putting the website in the show notes, so you guys have got to check it out. It is unbelievable, the detail of the ship. Absolutely unbelievable. There's a couple of really cool facts here that I want to talk about too. Let me just scroll down here. All right, so according to a report in the National Geographic, the scan of the Titanic took place over a course of 3 weeks, and this all happened back in 2022 with a Titanic historian, Parks Stevenson, who oversaw the project. So this guy had been down actually twice. So this dude's got some money. 2000, right? So 2005, he went down there, but he said he explained it as being like being in a dark room with a flashlight that's not very powerful. So it was very difficult to see. So some of these images, for example, the one I'm looking at right now, the comment underneath of it says an open steam valve corroborates eyewitness reports that the ship's engineers kept working to keep the lights on until the very end. You guys won't even believe these images. You just won't believe them. And I do want to get down to, because it talks about how they think the ship went down as to what really happened as it went down. So if you remember in the movie, right, it hit, it leaked for hours, and then like the ship snapped in half kind of as it was going down. That's not what they say happened at all. So hull fragments scattered across the wreck site, meanwhile, further support that the Titanic did not split cleanly in two, but was ripped apart at the stern, which would have cut through first-class cabins where prominent passengers may have attempted to take refuge. They show like a picture of the boiler room in the back of the ship. Let's see. Oh, also, the first officer, William Murdoch. So it had been long believed that he had abandoned the ship, but Second Officer Charles Lightoller had testified that Murdoch was swept away by the sea, and now a high-resolution detail of the lifeboat Davit suggests that Murdoch's crew was preparing to launch just moments before the starboard side of the Titanic was engulfed by water, meaning he had indeed remained at his post, so he did not abandon the ship. So that's cool. But, also, the team had also found a ton of relics down there, things like pocket watches, purses, gold coins, hair combs, shoes, and even a shark tooth charm. And many of these items, this is a really cool bit, many of these items were connected back to the original owners thanks to historian Yasmin Khan. How cool is that to actually get things back like that belong to your family?
That is insane. And they're probably all worth a lot of money for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. What's more is that the scans revealed that the Titanic is rapidly deteriorating, with parts of the ship's most iconic areas already collapsing. It is believed that the vessel could disappear completely within the next 40 years.
Okay, but 40 years is a long time for trash to be laying around.
40 more years. Yeah, but think about how big that ship was. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I know. That's what
Where
I'm
did
saying.
it go?
It sunk. What?
No, I mean, where is it going now? It's already sunk. Where is it going?
It's disintegrating.
It's just disintegrating and
erosion.
Yeah, going back, becoming part of the seabed.
Yeah, but my point is I immediately go to, it's a perfect example of how we just pollute the earth. And we're just like, oh, Earth's taking care of our damage.
Well,
but
yeah.
it takes 80 years.
Yeah. Well, it sunk. What?
Yeah, it was like 40 years ago, right? That happened?
No, I got to go back.
Oh, no, wait, not 40 years ago. Like 80 years already. Yeah, I know. That was in like the 30s or something, right? When did the Titanic happen?
Because that was the only way to get there. There was no airplanes. You could only go by cruise ships.
Yes.
You know? So I want to say it was like the 30s.
Hold on.
Because we were flying in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
who really cares about the 40s?
Okay.
so April 15th, 1912 is when the ship sank.
So in 1912. So how crazy is it that it takes 150 years for the Earth to clean away our mess?
Right.
And then when you think about it and all that new revelation that they're talking about with the chambers and the pyramids and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that was kind of covered over by the earth. And if you do the math, it probably was about 500-600 years ago.
Wait, what was 500-600 years ago?
500-600 years ago, maybe we would have seen some of those columns underneath the pyramid.
Oh, yeah,
but because the earth literally will wash away our mess when we're done with it and not utilizing it anymore.
Yeah.
If it takes 150 for a boat, I guess it took a couple of thousand years for a pyramid.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would have deteriorated even more being in water.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Yeah. So
yeah, but you got to think that ship down there not only doesn't have the salt water, which is abrasive and corrosive, but it also has all that sand and rock and all the debris blowing by it.
And
where
algae.
Yeah, and things chipping away at it. Yeah, other life forms chipping away at it down there. So it had all of the degrading properties of nature. It's pretty miraculous. That big of a ship in 150 years, Mother Nature ate it away.
Yeah.
Or will eat it away.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's one of those mind-blowing things. If I keep thinking about it and keep getting more macro and micro all at once, that's a brain buster.
Yeah, it really is. So we're fortunate to have these images. Did you guys ever go to a museum, to the Titanic Museum? Did you guys ever do that?
No.
I didn't go to the Titanic Museum.
No.
Oh, are you? No, where are you talking about? Where is it?
Well, it's an exhibition that I don't know if it's still going around, but when Emily was just, oh man, she was just tiny, like maybe a year, maybe two. We went to Grand Rapids, the Gerald Ford Museum. They had the Titanic exhibit there. And that was...
Okay, you're talking about an exhibit. Yes, I've seen Titanic exhibits at museums.
Yes, I said it wrong.
Titanic Museum. I was like, no, I don't even know where that's at.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I actually bought a, what do they call it? I bought a coffee cup, but it was for the steerage folk. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'm buying that one because that's important. So I do have that in my cabinet.
Okay, what's a steerage folk? What are you talking about?
Well, you have your first class passengers, and then you basically have steerage, which are all the, poor people that were at the bottom of the ship. That's where they stayed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did buy that, and it was really neat because you got to see, some recovered dishes, and of course the rooms, how they remade the rooms and stuff like that. And then I don't know about the ones that you guys went to, but the one that I was in also had like a huge, huge piece of ice to replicate like the iceberg, and they had like a little bit of the ship there, and it was so super cold in there. I was like, that's really cool that they did that. Did yours have that type of a room?
I don't remember it being cold in the area, but I remember seeing the iceberg and what it looked like, and they showed the top of it and the whole bottom of it underneath the ocean, and then the ship hitting it.
Oh, see, mine didn't show the bottom. That's cool. That's really cool.
Being cold.
It was very cold.
I actually think I've seen two different exhibits. Like, I don't know, because I think one might have been in Washington, and that was way back, like, I don't know, probably 1995. 1998.
Okay.
Was when I was in Washington, when I did that whole museum trip. I think I saw something there. But then I think I seen something probably in a Florida museum, or it might have even been in a Pennsylvania museum. It was an exhibit, but it shows you pictures of what they imagined based on pictures that they have taken over the years. But they imagined this glorious ballroom with the stairs, much like in the movie. Like basically, they just took shots from the movie. Is probably what it was. I don't believe I've ever seen anything since they've remodeled it. I definitely know I haven't seen it in the past 4 years, if that's when they did all this.
Yeah. Did you, so when you say Washington, were you at the Smithsonian?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Smithsonian. I did.
Yeah.
I did that when I was like 19, I think. It was fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of walking.
It's a ton of walking. We didn't even do it all. I'm like,
several buildings of museums.
Yeah, I've never. Yeah, if anybody wants to do a museum and they want to do the Smithsonian, take a couple days, take some Tylenol because your feet are going to hurt.
Yeah. But it is super cool. I think everyone that goes to the museum geeks out a little bit on something, especially at the Smithsonian. There's something for everyone. You know what I mean?
Best.
That'll pique your interest.
Yeah, totally the best.
You to make you geek out a little bit. At least I think so.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some, not so intelligent people. I've gone to museums with some not so intelligent people, and even those ordinarily not so intelligent people, they find something where they geek out about it, and they're like, "Oh, I know about this," or "I want to know about this."
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. I do like going to museums.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So sticking with the water theme, you guys remember hearing about Pablo Escobar?
Of course.
Right, Mr. Drugpin, Mr. King Cocaine.
King of Cocaine.
King of Cocaine. Is that what
they called him?
They
call him that?
They did call him something. What was it? Yeah, I'm sticking with King of Cocaine because, of course, when I'm trying to find the exact verbiage, I can't find it. But he was a huge drug king.
They did call him the King of Cocaine.
Did they? Okay.
Yes.
He moved a lot of coke.
Yeah.
A lot. And one thing I didn't know, did you know that he used submarines to move that coke?
I've heard he's used everything.
Yeah.
Every mode of transportation you could think of.
Yeah, well, apparently he had a few submarines that he would move cocaine from the coast of Colombia to Puerto Rico. Because they couldn't, who was looking underwater? This guy had some money.
Of course.
Right. So apparently he lost or hid $50 billion.
Yeah, in the walls of his house.
Well, they think it's a narco sub.
Oh.
Yeah. They found a sub that they think is his. But so far, yeah. So, So they reportedly, so a couple of former CIA agents, I'm not going to say their names, it's in the article if you guys want to look at it, reportedly located a submarine off the coast of Colombia. They're not, of course, disclosing that because they want to get that $50 billion, I'm thinking.
Right.
And they've sent, divers down in hopes of locating his rumored $50 billion fortune. So again, he used the submarines and is known to have at least one of his own to transport the cocaine, like I told you, from Colombia to Puerto Rico, where it then would be carried to Miami via those big cigar boats. Did you guys ever see that show where the drug guys were running the cocaine from?
Yeah, that was like commonplace in the 80s. I mean, hello, they built a whole TV show around it. Miami Vice.
Yeah, right. Yep. So, they found pieces of, they call it scraps of metal, but so far no cash. They've spoken to some former employees of Escobar, and the submarines used by the kingpin could carry 2,000 kilos of cocaine. That's a lot of cocaine.
That's a lot.
Holy hell.
Why even though? Like, what is the point of that?
Because in the 80s, Americans were just streamlining that up their noses.
Oh.
I get it, but why hide it in the submarine?
So they don't get busted by the cops.
So they're busted, so they can get it here.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of dirty cops trying to seize it so they could sell it.
Right?
It's pretty much what the 80s were, I think.
How do you get it out of the submarine and onto land without anybody noticing a goddamn submarine?
I don't know. Yeah, where did you come up at? And how would you? I guess they would have had to done it in the middle of the night.
Yeah, they probably did it close to the shore, but still out in the water. They would have a barge or something meet them, just be out in the water, and they'd come up right next to it, unload it onto the barge, bring the barge in like it was just any other barge bringing crap over.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
It is insane.
Yeah.
The logistics of it all. It's just bonkers to me.
Well, it's just like any other product.
That's so much negative energy into the universe.
Okay, can we just push in there a little bit? Hello, that's commerce. aka business, aka
Lots and lots of
That's
money.
technically what all companies are doing in one way, shape, or form.
I know.
He just decided that his product was going to be cocaine. And so there was a little more red tape he needed to get around. But by golly, he got around it.
And when you got the money like that, honey, you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna buy some subs. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, 50 billion he stashed or lost or did whatever. That's just, God only knows the true amount of money this guy had. 50 billion. You know, he was shot in the head and killed. Because I'm like, how did Pablo Escobar die? Because wasn't he the dude that escaped and he ended up getting busted because he made a phone call to his son?
I don't really remember the details. I think that might have been the other one. The other
El Chapo.
El Chapo.
Oh, El Chapo.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So it did...
El Chapo wasn't the king of cocaine, though. I think he was like the king of heroin or something, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't really remember. Don't quote me on that one. They weren't on the same level, though. I think El Chapo aspired to be like Pablo Escobar, but Pablo Escobar was the biggest fish. At least that we're aware of. God knows. Maybe there was somebody else.
Yeah, could have been. But yeah, he was trying to make an escape on a rooftop and he got shot right in the head. And I was like, oh, there you go.
The thing that always gets me when anybody talks about any kind of crime syndicates, organized crime, I always we always talk about the head of it. You know, the king of cocaine, or if it's the mafia, the Don, right? We always talk about that person. But then you're going to realize all of the people that are working for them to make this happen for them. I get strife. I get, hey, the money's easy. I get the draw. But all of those people are equally culpable. I want to say something horrible about them personally, but I don't want to at the same time. So I'm trying to be careful with my words here. But, like, how did we get so many people to only think about themselves to such a level that they're going to do such egregious crap just for a little bit of coin in their pocket? Like, that bothers me.
Yeah, it's a root of all evil.
Deep human level, that bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
That's an economic issue.
Yeah, it's a greed issue, really. It's like, why does humanity got to be so goddamn greedy?
I don't know. It's a sad thing.
Yeah, like, how much is too much? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
What's the point of the excess?
You're money grabbing. You want, I don't know. It just makes you a greedy greedster.
The thing is I mean, I say this, and I have always been ambitious and slightly aggressive. You know, I was a business owner at one time, and then I went into the medical field, and I went at that like it was, you know, life. And I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So I get drive. I get wanting to get to a place where you feel comfortable, respected, and you feel like you have, you know, what you're supposed to have in life, whatever you were searching for, right? And for each individual, that'll be different, I suppose. I get that'll be different. Some people are happy with, you know, an apartment and they walk to work, you know what I mean? So that's very little need. That's very little drive that they have to have, you know what I mean, to sustain that life. And then there's people that, for some reason, want to have 17 cars and, you know, 20,000 square foot house. And to them, that's success. I get the different ranges, the different desires. I do not, and I will not ever understand the level of billionaires. Like, the level of billionaire, and you could look around at other humans and see them starving and living on the streets, and you don't choose to do that with your billions. I'm never going to understand people like that. So it's the same thing for all the people that were driving his sub and hiding the coke at the bottom of the ocean for a rainy day, or the money down there, or whatever they're storing down there. But for what? All of those people that drove the submarine down there are kind of just as scummy as the king of cocaine.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's just
I'm
hide
sorry
it.
I went down that lane, but I mean, for those that listen most of the time, I go down a rabbit hole for no goddamn reason, just when I kind of feel offended at something, but at the same time, I get it. I get the drive, I get the greed to some extent, I get the ambition in life or whatever caused you to be there. But I highly doubt the king of cocaine had every single person that ever worked for him had one of their family members under a gun to make them do the things that they did. So the things that they did for money and greed, just at a different level as the king of cocaine. And they're just as culpable for all the millions of lives that were lost to drug addiction.
Agreed. Because I can tell you right now, if I had billions, I would definitely help the people in this world.
Absolutely. And the first thing would be fucking healthcare.
Amen.
The first thing would be healthcare for everyone.
Yep. Absolutely. How far do you think 50 billion would go for healthcare?
It would go further than you think, actually.
Yeah.
You could literally just pay everybody's healthcare for a year, I think, with probably just interest off of their principal in America. Maybe not the whole world, but I'm just strictly speaking America.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, I'm not a financier by any means, but I think if you had that 50 million sitting somewhere and it just accrued interest, you could probably pay for everyone's insurance just on the interest that it accrued sitting there.
Yeah.
No skin off of anybody's back.
There we go.
How freaking insane is that thought?
It's totally insane. But people that have that money are too greedy. We got to move on because we're getting heated. I can feel it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, okay, let's stop with this and let's go back to the king of cocaine. Thankfully, he got shot in his head.
Yeah, he actually got popped right in the ear. So, like in the knee and the torso, and then the kill shot was through the ear. So, there you go. But
okay, not going to say that wasn't deserved, because there's millions of Americans that have lost their life, whether by death or incarceration, because of the drugs that he peddled in our streets.
There you go. Karma.
So, fuck that dude.
Fuck him. All right, so here's something that's very interesting. And again, if you guys use the link in the sources, this is really kind of cool. There's a 5,000-year-old receipt for Sumerian beer, and that features history's first known signature. So this tablet was made in about 3100 BC in the ancient Mesopotamian city of Uruk in modern-day Iraq. And this is really cool looking. And anyway, they have like hops carved into this little tablet. There's a couple of like bottles that they carved into this tablet, and this baby sold for $230,000.
Oh, wow, not too shabby. I just immediately thought that it sucks that Angela's not on the call today to hear your little tidbit, because I think that she'd be really interested in that. She'd
yes,
be like,
she would.
Oh, cool.
That's exactly what she was saying.
Yeah.
I know, but she's sunning her body down in the Keys, so she's on her honeymoon this week. Yeah, so yay for her. But yeah, she definitely dig it. So I know she'll look that up. So
I know she's listening, even though she's on her honeymoon, because that's just what we do around these parts. So
yeah,
hope you're having a great time, girl.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. It's a really interesting image, and that's a receipt. How long did it take you to pound that out?
That was a receipt.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a sign to say that they were selling it.
No, it was a receipt.
For the shipping of it?
No, for the purchase. Well, I don't know. Some from a purchase of beer. Hold on, let's see. The tablet itself is one-of-a-kind artifact, not only because of its detailed inscription about an ancient beer sale, but also because it holds what many believe to be the world's first signature. Symbols at the top left corner of the tablet, the supposed signature, translate as Q or Sim, which experts have interpreted as spelling the name Kashim. The name was possibly that of a government scribe who created the recording on the clay tablet for administrative purposes. So, yeah, big sale of beer.
Wow.
Yep. So I thought that was really neat. And then, have you guys ever had a metal detector? Have you ever owned one?
No, but my ex has one.
I've always thought I should get a metal detector. It'd be really cool, right? Because our house was built in 1890. God only knows what I could possibly find out in my yard.
Oh my God. if you get a metal detector, your yard is going to look like you have groundhog invasion.
It already does because we have groundhogs like crazy. No, they're moles. They're moles. It's like those sons of bitches.
Yeah. They're so cute, though, with their little face and their nose fingers. I just love them so much.
Ew.
Except for the evil one that stole Thumbelina. I didn't like him.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
He was a bad, bad mole.
Exactly.
Okay, so listen, but moles are little teeny tiny.
Yeah.
Like
a little mouse.
God. What were the things that I did? Oh, groundhogs. Groundhogs are big, like the size of Buddy.
Yeah, they're nasty.
Yeah.
No.
Groundhogs are big. They're
the
not
size of Buddy.
Buddy's a little guy. I think you're
thinking a beaver.
A beaver.
A beaver would be as big as Buddy.
Okay. Are you seriously?
Groundhog?
Semantics. Groundhogs are pretty big. They're like a small dog. Maybe not as big as Buddy, but they're like a small dog. And when they make a hole, it's like you could stick your whole fist in a groundhog hole.
Yeah, the moles. You know what? Back it up. Back it up. We already said we're not talking those things. You dirty, dirty girl.
I can't even.
Okay.
I did not.
I totally agree, Christine. Next topic.
Next topic. So let's get back to.
I won't even argue.
I don't even know how we got to that from metal detectoring.
Because if you had a metal detector, you're going to be digging up your whole damn yard. You have what is it called? You have a societal house. What is that called? What is your house?
Historical.
Yeah, historical. There
yes.
you go. It's in the historical society.
Yes.
So it's probably amazing what's in your yard.
Yeah, I would be very interested. I would be very, very interested. And some people,
exactly.
Yeah, and some people hit it big.
Every time your little metal detector dings, you're gonna dig a trench looking for what it's dinging for.
Yeah,
your yard is gonna be a mess. Don't do it.
Well, but listen, I've got the big dogs, and Archie. I've caught him. I had to stop him from digging today because he hears those damn moles underground. He's dug 3 holes out there today.
Jeez, I hate that.
Oh my God, I'm about to lose some shit. But anyway, there is a couple. They call them metal detectorists. And I'm going to try to say this name: Jacek Yukowski and Katarzyna Herdzik. They posed for a photo on a beach in Poland. They had gone out there because there had just been some crazy torrential rains. And so they thought, hey, you know what? This is a great opportunity. Let's get out there and see if anything comes up. Well, sure as shit, they came across a dagger. And this dagger is 2,800 years old.
Wow.
And it's
that's a pretty funny.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's beautifully decorated, And they came across it in a piece of clay that had fallen off a cliff. They're like, oh, what's this? Struck it big.
Oh, yeah. Does it say, did you find out how much it is worth?
Well, let's see. Okay, so it's 2,800 years old, and I'm looking for a value. It's engraved with crescent moons and crosses that resemble stars, and a design down the center of its blade may represent a constellation. It is so ornate. It's unbelievable. It's worth.
That's some cool crap. I just immediately went back to the story that it's actually my best friend growing up my whole life. We're still in touch. And her mother, I just recently saw her and her mother brought up the story about, remember when you girls used to dig in the backyard and you'd find those big square rusty nails and you'd be like, this is Jesus's nail. I immediately went back to that. If I would have found an intricate sword, I would have been like, this is the Archangel's sword.
Just for me to find.
Yeah, that's hysterical.
Yeah, they don't have a value on it in this article, but I can only imagine.
Is it like a weapon sword?
It's a dagger. I mean, this thing is
dagger.
The entire thing is metal. The handle's metal, Every bit of this sword is decorated. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's intact. Like, it's not, the tip is still intact. There's no chips out of it, nothing. So God only knows. I mean, it's been buried in this, clay for how long, preserving it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would have just lost it.
That's why clay masks are so good for your skin.
They can preserve it.
It does.
I got to go get some clay. Yeah, so they think it's from the Iron Age, or they say it's about the Iron Age. Very cool. So good on them for such a great find. That's so cool. And, here's another one talking about metal detectors. So more detectorists stumble upon a dangerous cache of World War II weapons in Belgium. There were actually two youths that recently unearthed they found 3 hand grenades, 6 light mortars, and ammunition from World War II. And speaking of that, so that was in Belgium, and then in Japan, underneath a school in Tokyo, they found, let me get over to this one. I just thought, wow, that's crazy. Like, all this stuff is being found right now. Okay, about 1,400 firearms and 1,200 swords were discovered buried underneath an elementary school in Tokyo, Japan, believing it's from World War II and belonging to the Japanese Imperial Army. Grenades, bullets, cannonballs were also found buried about 6.5 feet underneath the Tanashi Elementary School in the city of Nisha, Tokyo. The discovery of the weapons is the result of the construction of the building that began in July. So I guess they're kind of redoing the school, and they come along this ginormous cache of weapons. That would be crazy.
That's actually a little bit scary. The kids all that time were sitting on a bunch of explosives.
Yeah. And who was coming back for this? Like, I don't understand. These are the things I don't understand. Why are we taking the time to bury it in a submarine? Why are we taking the time to bury it in a ground?
What are you talking about, baby?
Are you coming back for it? Why are we burying shit in the ground?
I don't know.
I don't understand. Who's coming back for it? Nobody. It's been sitting there since World War II.
Yeah.
In the case of the dagger, that dagger might have been attached to a human. They might have buried the human up on the mountain, and then over years of time,
no, I'm talking about the army stuff.
Yeah, but the army, it was just artillery stuff that they left laying around, and they moved on to a different fighting area, or they lost that battle, and all their crap just stayed there, and the earth covered it over.
Could have been. Or they just buried it. We don't need this stuff anymore. I don't know. It's weird. I'm with you, Nina.
World War II wasn't that long ago. It's not going to just cover itself up. I mean...
with construction, like if it was kind of buried or I don't know.
I'm just saying, it seems to me they buried it. Like, why? Look, I said that sometimes I have good ideas. Sometimes I don't. This is one of these times. It's completely random, but this is what I'm thinking in my head. Why are they burying stuff in a submarine? Who's motherfucking coming to get it? Like, why was that even a plan?
Well, I made the assumption kind of that they buried the submarine on purpose. It could have just sank, and it could actually have nothing in it. Like, maybe that's not where he hid his $50 billion, but
right.
Because they found a submarine that may belong to the narcos, maybe they had some billions in there. Like, it's all guesstimation. They didn't actually find it.
Yeah.
Well,
they found the submarine, but they didn't find what's inside of it yet.
Correct. No, it doesn't even sound like from the article that they were even able to get in it. It's like, why don't you balloon that shit up to the surface, get it somewhere, and rip the top off? Cut it off. And give us the $50 billion so we can help people.
Right?
What the hell? Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, clearly they buried it. But it's weird. Like, why wouldn't you store it somewhere? Or, I mean, maybe that's how they thought they would destroy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got one more. And I know you guys are going to have fun with this one. So the title of this article is Archaeologists Have Just Found the World's Oldest Cheese in an Ancient Egyptian Tomb. It looks like a rock.
Sorry. What? I like cheese, but not like that.
And how do we know that it's cheese, that it's not just some kind of fungal creature growing?
Okay. All right. So this is what it says. In a paper published in July in the journal Analytical Chemistry, a team of archaeologists revealed that they discovered the oldest specimen of cheese ever found. The cheese, which is believed to be approximately 3,200 years old, was found while a team was excavating the tomb of Thames, mayor of Memphis, the ancient capital of Egypt. And according to Smithsonian, our favorite museum, sometime between 2013 and 2014, the team of archaeologists found a few broken jars at the site, one of which had a mysterious solid white mass inside. The jar was found with a canvas fabric, which was thought to have covered the jar, and this caused the archaeologists to suspect that the mass was food. Enrico Greco, the lead author of the paper and research assistant at Peking University, told the New York Times. However, it wasn't until the team ran tests on the object that they reached their cheesy conclusion. The researchers dissolved the substance, examined the contents, and discovered that the substance found was, quote, a dairy product obtained by mixing sheep/goat and cow milk. The study said, according to Smithsonian, because the canvas cloth believed to have covered the jar wouldn't have stopped a liquid from escaping. The researchers concluded that the contents must have been a solid dairy product. The material analyzed in the study is probably the most ancient archaeological solid residue of cheese ever found to date.
Okay, and how come nowhere in that article does it say that it was covered with cheesecloth? Because that's literally what you described.
I know. That's cheesecloth, man.
First clue. Okay, so now we know there were no women on this science team.
Because they probably kept it in a brine. And then when they were ready, they just strain it, and then they'd have their fresh cheese.
Yeah.
But like, was cheese petrified?
It looks absolutely petrified. It's the picture of it is huge. It's a very large amount of cheese because, he's got to, whoever was buried, they got to have that food. They got to, for their long journey to the heavens.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it says the cheese that the ancient Egyptians feasted on was probably similar to modern day chèvre, Chevre, chèvre, but more acidic. I've never had chèvre cheese. I don't even know what that is. But it says it would be high in moisture and it would be spreadable.
What are we talking about?
There you go. You dirty bird. But it would not last long. It would spoil very quickly. That's crazy.
Again, what are we talking about?
Well, have you ever had that stuff called like alouette?
Yes. I love it.
I wonder if it's something. I love that too. Well, that's cheese.
That is spreadable cheese.
So maybe it was something like that.
Yeah, could have been.
Yummers.
Just scoop it up with your hand and slap it in your mouth.
I think we need to change the subject.
It might be a good time to wrap up the show because within the last 2 minutes.
Hey, that was a lot of keywords there. You were using all the buzzwords.
Those are triggers, damn it.
Say macaroni.
Spreadable.
Fisting.
Yeah. Shove it in your mouth.
Shove it in your mouth.
That's the thing. It's like when you try to be on your best behavior, that's when everything stands out to you the most.
I know.
That's when things really go to hell.
Trying not to react to it. And that's why you should just always be yourself.
Buck.
Buck,
Okay.
buck, 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 buck.
Hockey.
Real cheese.
There you go. Real cheese.
Please.
And thank you. Yeah. Well, that was fun, you guys. A little crazy history there for us.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was a good conversation. I don't think I went too off the rails.
No.
I did. Pat myself on the back.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to listen to it back later.
Yeah.
We'll see what I run into when I'm editing. I'm like, oh. So that was fun. So thank you guys. And thank you everyone for coming back and listening. Keep coming back and we will see you back on Friday for F-Bomb. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.